Podcast.
Hey, that
was good.
Hey, we gotta put in the work, man. We gotta put in the footwork. Anyway, how we always start. I am your host, Des. I got the crew here with me today. Who's here with me?
Hi, I'm Sadiqa. I am Dez's co-host.
And you got Vaughn, 1152.
You got David.
And Anya.
And that is the crew for today, guys. We're gonna start exactly how we start every way with our current events, what's going on locally, nationally, around the world. Sadiqa, go ahead and take it off.
All right, so Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo and Company fired more than a dozen employees last month after investigating claims that they were faking work. The staff in the firm's Wealth and Investment Management Unit were discharged after the review of allegations involving simulation of keyboard activity, creating impressions of active work using. So basically what happened was they had a number of employees who was able to get software or gadgets or what have you to put on their computer to make it look like they were actually working when they weren't. So then they fired like a dozen people who were doing that. And this was something that was hugely popular in 2020. You can go on Amazon and buy these these gadgets or what have you that'll make your mouse move so it looks like you're working while you could just sit back, crochet, watching a Marvel movie. I mean, that's how I spent my 2020.
So it works.
But yeah, so they just fired a bunch of employees over that. What are your thoughts?
Wow. So the case was that they called them and they got fired, not like they were taking a certain amount of money or working overtime or anything crazy.
No, they were just paying them for not actually working. So
Right.
in a way, they would consider it, especially in corporate, that you're stealing from the company because you're getting paid for doing something you're not actually doing.
Right.
So
I mean,
Did they say how long it took them?
no, it didn't.
Bad.
Yeah, because if it was like 2-3 weeks, and it's kind of like your fault. Like you ain't got nobody watching us, and you just letting. I don't know.
And the other thing is, so Wells Fargo made this big push. They were one of the major companies to make this big push for employees to return back to work. So how you have people who either have gone back to work or hybrid where they work from home and then they also can work in the office. So they're making this big push to get their employees to get back into the office. I mean, if you're paying the bills for this office, then you want to utilize it. But they can't go back and say, oh, this was happening while you were at home. So there's nothing to track if they haven't been working at home, but they have been able to track, otherwise. So
Okay. Yeah, I don't got too much to say. It's a funny situation, I guess. That's the only thing I can
it's
say.
wild. Is that something y'all would do if you could get away with it though?
Yes.
After the
Yes.
yeah, I like how quick that. After
Tell
the
us
pandemic,
more about that, David. Tell us more. Why?
Well, yeah, you don't seriously. If you don't get caught doing it, then yeah, I would absolutely do that. Like on God.
Right.
Not on God.
Okay, but I mean, how long do you think you could keep it up? Because me personally, I thought in the beginning of like my working career, I thought getting an easy job or one that was like super tedious would be the correct way. And then I found myself like lost in my brain. Like this work sucks so much. I'm finding a million things to do in my head instead of just being able to do the work and just be in that moment. But if I could do that, I'd probably do it too. But then after a while, I feel like I'm cheating myself because I do also like hard work. I like free money, but then at the same time, it's like, I'm like, all right, like.
Doing nothing for nothing.
Exactly.
I would at least do it for a year.
For a
You
year.
can pull it off for a year.
A year, you probably gonna
I
be
also
like.
feel like with everyone overworked and underpaid, sometimes you just gotta get in when you can. So I wouldn't
Right.
feel guilty because there's a lot of people that like work too much and the benefits trash. Like, you're spending 8 hours a day just to come back to, somebody saying, oh, can you do this A, B, and C on top of what you already did? So no, I would do it and wouldn't feel bad.
Right.
I don't know. I probably I don't think I would do it because you have to think about, you have deadlines, you've got things that you have to that you probably projects you're working on, and I can't see how you can fake that. and especially if you have to present on anything. Now, I'm not at Wells Fargo. I don't know anything about like this unit where it's the wealth and investment management. So, but in my mind, I'm thinking if it's a unit on investment management, that means they're working with other people's money, like ours.
Right.
And it's like, am I losing money because you're not doing your job? So you have to also think about not just the employee, but who else is this affecting by them not doing their job and just having it look like somebody's like messing on their computer. Like no work is getting done. It's not like the computer's inputting data for them. It just looks like work is happening. So, I mean, I would be bothered about that, especially if I'm losing money in investments and stuff.
Yeah. I actually just ended my bank account with Wells Fargo. I was with them for about like 7 years.
I heard they got robbed.
And in my head, that it hasn't been a change. That they pretty much are like that every day anyway. Like
They kind of like
Nobody's
a
doing
computer, but
anything
nobody
for
doing
you.
nothing. Yeah. Nah, for real though. Keeping it current though, guys. This is a little touchy situation. TikToker fined and fired after, well, not fired, my apologies, TikToker fired after saying the N-word and blames the woke mob, saying that she is the perfect racist.
What?
Yeah. Huh? So, TikToker Lily Gladys, she's a self-described trade wife. She was reportedly fired from her job after she said the N-word during a cooking video that went viral this last Monday, June 17th.
Okay, excuse me. What is a trade wife? Is she got a husband that's in a trade?
We got
Hold on, we got
Breck on the side.
We got Breckenridge over here.
Yeah, she's
just
gonna
gonna
tell us exactly
about
what
the
that
trade
is.
wife, 'cause I
A
haven't
trad
told
wife is like somebody who like
Careful with all that.
really respects the traditional like values of like the working class American family, where the husband goes and makes money at work and she's just at home like cooking, caring for children, and makes that like the entire life, and that's kind of like the
So that's
the-
a trade.
Yeah.
So it's like
okay.
if you go to school for a trade, this is also a
Yeah,
trade.
Okay,
And
no,
like,
I actually got it.
raising
And then,
a
like-
family,
So the way,
things
look,
like
the
that.
way they
Okay,
put
I see.
it, the way they put it on there, it was literally they're trademarking the word trade because it's not trade, it's traditional,
Oh,
and it's just an
traditional
abbreviation
wife.
for
traditional
traditional.
housewife energy.
I didn't know that. I just figured that in
I hate
just
this.
now. But how do we feel about this situation? And if you guys haven't seen the video, it's disturbing to say the least.
I ain't gonna lie, she was wrong for saying that. Cause what
I
made you?
I sent it in the group chat. None of you guys watched it.
I seen it.
Shanika, you didn't see it?
No, it came later, and no, I didn't see it. I did see it that you sent it, but I did not watch it.
So basically, she was just
She was cooking something, then she gonna say.
yeah, she was just giving her take about people in the world and stuff, and she was saying basically like, I don't know about you guys, but I want to have somebody who financially supports me. I don't want to be with a broke quote unquote N-word.
Right.
Hard on
And
her.
then,
Just
and then after that, I think at the end of the video, she was saying like, she said something like, "I'm not gonna apologize" or something like that. She was like, she pulled a Conor McGregor. She was like, and I know people think that I should, but I'm not going to apologize. And then kind of ended it like that. So
That's disgusting.
She's
Because it's
mad.
like, first of all, what's the point of even saying that? What's the point? You could just say you don't want to be with a broke person, or a broke guy, or what have you. There's no point of saying that. There's no point of even incorporating that type of language into your cooking show of all things. And I hate that people feel like, oh, woke mafia, because we don't want you to say the N-word, because we don't want you to call us that, or what have you.
right.
It's really insane, just the thinking about that. I feel
Respecting
like.
is like that.
Yeah, it sucks because we're so far into like this social media world now, where people have already traded their morals and their goals. So now you're not seeing people who are like level-headed and have this common sense. You're actually seeing people who are like, well, I know if I say something crazy, then people are gonna watch it, and I want people to watch it, don't I? So they automatically just say something crazy, and we're sitting there looking at them like, why are you saying something crazy? But they're like, this is the way you guys react to stuff, so why are you mad at me?
They just want attention and all that other drama just coming through the comments. Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah,
I'm tired of that.
and to be honest, I did a little research. Obviously, you can't really see who a person's character is based off their social media account, but she doesn't actually seem like somebody who's racist or would actually take part in that type of like hate. But it does seem like she's somebody who often is, what do you say when
ignorant.
like ignorant and like a clout chaser, you know, when they'll just say anything because they know you'll react.
It's also like all publicity is good publicity.
Exactly.
That's the,
Okay, so
that's
she's that type of person. So for her, today it might be the N-word. Today, the next day it might be like abusing an animal or something. We don't know what it is. It's literally just whatever rolls the dice.
And then it
for
also,
her.
what you were saying, like, I don't regret it. It just shows, like, obviously no remorse, but it's I don't know. Personally, it's like, not only do you say it, but you double down on it, and that's what makes it worse. I also want to ask, what you mentioned the idea of like a perfect racist. What did you mean by that?
This is in her words what she thought of herself. Like, you know how people go on the internet and they're trolls, so they'll perfectly say some stuff to make you upset, and now you're arguing with them for like an hour. She's saying that she's so good at it that she's the perfect racist.
And that probably comes in different ways of like I don't understand the thinking behind that of being a perfect racist. Who would want to be a perfect, like, anything that's super negative and disgusting and oppressive? But maybe she's like, oh, I present this way and you will never know. So I'm I can fall in through the cracks. Who knows?
Yeah, that's how I would take it, because like I said, I did research on her and I wasn't able to find any of this behavior in this way. This was like the first time she decided to kind of steer off in this direction, and yeah, I don't know. She's a wild card for sure. Yeah, keeping it current. Nobody else wants to say.
Let's not give her any more attention.
Yeah, that's all that more. Once people get to talking about it, it's more. Get past that.
I heard that. Well, happy belated Father's Day for everybody out there.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the real fathers
Who
out
got
there.
their daddies in their life, man. We need a daddy in their life. But nah, anyway, guys, this is actually a really good story that I want to share with you guys. Does anybody know the rapper Rob49?
Yes, sir.
I don't know anything like that.
I don't.
No.
The only person that do is me, but I ain't gonna say it on the radio. But if y'all do,
Oh yeah, he was singing this song off air. Everybody looked at him like, "Why you gonna sing that song?"
because that's the only song I know. But he has Skilla Baby in the Future song. But I hope y'all. No, I ain't gonna sing it.
Okay. Keeping it current though, New Orleans rapper Rob49, he gifted 3 New Orleans fathers this weekend with time in general for Father's Day. He paid for their bonds, and all 3 of them were non-violent offenders. And he was saying that he remembers having a tough time for him growing up, and his dad always being incarcerated. So for him, this Father's Day, he just really felt triggered to kind of give back. So he awarded 3 fathers with bail to be able to see their kids on Father's Day. How do we feel about that?
Hey, that's a blessing, because nowadays some fathers can't even see their kids, and it's like
I mean, I feel good. I mean, he gave 3 awards to 3 different fathers, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, they probably deserved it anyway, so.
no, they definitely do.
Exactly.
I think it's a beautiful thing. I love that they were non-violent offenders, for one. I love that they weren't just his friends, it sounds like, as well. And, you've got dads out here that are free, that's not able to see their kids. So to actually eliminate the barrier so you can be there for your child, I think that's really great. And we just got to hope that they will, now that they're out on bail, that they continue to show up in their kids' lives. So it's great to at least have that access, right?
Right. Yeah, I think one thing for me that kind of hit home for me is when you see rappers do good things, it's kind of like the weird, awkward things where it was like, it wasn't really much thought into it, and they just have money, so they're like, oh, I'll just give you $100, you know what I mean? Or see somebody in line, oh, I'll pay groceries for you, but he actually took the time to be like, oh, let me see who's locked up right now, who might actually want to see their kids. And then not only that, he's making sure that they're not violent, so he's not actually putting somebody who's dangerous back on the street just because, but he wanted a father to be able to spend time with their kids on Father's Day.
It was definitely an intentional gift.
100%.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, we need to see more rappers follow this trend and keep that going.
I mean, people, period.
People,
You know,
yeah,
those
people
who
in
can
people in general.
afford it, yeah.
But I do want to call out the rap community just because I mean,
Yeah.
let's just say let's just say the focus has been somewhere else, and this is
Yeah.
a perfect example of what you can do. So
What's your
I
platform?
mean, it's really sad, like, not to have like that father. Like everybody, like not everybody, but honestly, majority of people do it. I wish I had my father. Ooh.
Yeah. While we're, I was finna say current events and wrap it up real quick. But does anybody want to tell a cool Father's Day story or anything like that, or did you guys do anything fun for Father's Day?
I seen my granddad. We went to Golden Corral.
Nice.
Oh, that's sweet.
Lucky.
So, yeah, my brother and my mom. So we had a good time.
Nice. Yeah, I miss those family dinners.
If we had Old Country Buffet still, that's what it would have
been.
been. If we still had that.
Country Buffet.
Man.
R.I.P. Old Country Buffet, man.
On me. Woo-hoo.
I remember I was 12 years old for 4 years in a row, man.
Come in. Hey, you be trying to tell them, hey, but actually, parents look at you like, you better not say nothing.
Yeah, I know. You used to be crying before you walk in because you're like, I'm not trying to be 12 no more. Like, I'm done with this. I got a full mustache and I'm still 12.
And they're looking at you like, how are you 12? What's going on with you, sir?
Right. Yeah, but me and Lonnie kind of just kicked it. We kicked it at home and made some food and stuff. And the day before we went to a WNBA game, so and it was her first basketball game. So she was just looking around. She wasn't even watching basketball. She was just looking around, like, look how many people's in here. Like, look at this, look at that. So
That's really sweet.
yeah. And then we got to go accept the check for Youth Link halftime. So we got to be on TV and we got to be courtside for a little bit and just enjoy the basketball game. So I mean, it was a really good Father's Day for me. Yeah, let's keep it current. What's going on with the U.S. trying to draft us, Sadika? What's going on?
The draft is open. I'm kidding. It's not open. It's not open. It's not open.
It better not be open.
It's not. Okay, so this is what it is, and so this is why people are like, the draft is open, so this is what happened. So the U.S. House of Representatives passed a measure within the National Defense Authorization Act that would automatically enroll men 18 to 26 with the Selective Service System. The federal agency documents all people registered for selective service, many mandatorily. And the agency would provide that information to the Defense Department in case of a draft, although one is not currently in place. Men 18 to 25 are already required by law to register for selective service. As the law is written now, anyone who is required to register and fails to do so could be charged with a felony punishable by as many as 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. Representative Chrissy Houlihan, who is a Democrat in Pennsylvania, sponsored the language and said it would make any potential future military draft fair and would save money on education and advertising campaigns currently geared at driving people to register.
So if I go over to Canada, I got to get a citizenship for them to not still try to draft me?
Correct.
Basically. So we going back to Canada. Okay.
Back to Canada. So we don't have a draft, but this is put in place. Just like in Israel, they have this same thing in Israel, except in Israel, I think you have to serve for 2 years at least. I believe that's the thing. I'm not sure. But here, they say that you have to actually, register in case we do have a war and, you would get drafted.
See, I'm gonna be a real one for you people. I'm taking my 5 years and I'm gonna pay my fine because I'm not gonna risk my life.
$250,000. Wow.
I don't care.
You got it like that?
Hey, I'm gonna go to the casino. I'm gonna go to the casino and try to win the best thing I can. I don't care if I crap out.
I would
Hey,
do it.
Vaughn, if you don't pay that
I
fine, they're
would.
probably just gonna make you do more time.
That's fine.
Let's see if they have like a firm or something like that.
Right.
Where you
I
can
just
like
want
pay
to.
an
I'm
installment.
scared. I don't want to just go out in the field and just go to war if we have an actual war. No, I'm too. No.
He said
have
I
a
need my
family.
payment plan. So
I don't got insurance. I don't got none of this. No. Who gonna pay for my funeral? My family got
The
my
army, if you did get drafted.
I'm scared. I will run away like they did in the old movies and try to
You
come
mean
back
like
home.
what they did in Vietnam?
Yeah, what they did in Vietnam and go home. I'll take.
So you would swim all the way there?
Hey, I'll do what I do. I don't care. I'll treat it like it's Alcatraz, like it's prison. I don't care.
Look, I'm going. I don't care.
You can go. I'm
Are
not.
you
So
going?
if
Yeah,
you
hell
got
yeah.
drafted, you go and fight?
Yeah, I'll go.
Oh, careful with the mic.
I would go. On God. Sorry.
Okay.
I like what Israel's doing where you said they have it's mandatory that they serve 2 years.
Yeah, and that's all people, so men and women. This one says it's just men at the moment. And I think that might also include trans men, so.
Okay, so just an idea. if that was in US and by the age of 17, 18, we all had to have that training, men and women, I would see that as a bonus for all of us in a way of just knowing those type of skills. I'm fine with that. But am I fine with just automatically signing my name, and if a war happens, I'm unprepared and I'm getting sent out there? No.
Well, they wouldn't just draft you and just send you out. You'd have to have the training to do it. It's a whole process in order to like fight in the army. And there's people that might get drafted that they won't accept depending on any like ailments, disabilities, and things like that as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, how does that apply to men that have like different like mental health issues and different disabilities that prevent them from doing the different tasks? Like, would you send someone that is, you know, isn't, and I say this to say that like someone that's like highly schizophrenic and can't tell like foe from enemy or foe from friend, you know, like how would they like kind of determine that?
I mean, the thing is this is that so they know when a war is coming, you know, we have the intelligence for that, right? And when you register to be in the army, it's not like you just are a soldier and that's it. No, you have to go through a training, which is I think roughly like 3 months, maybe more, something like that, and you're tested, and you have to pass that in order to even join. And you have to go through like rigorous health tests. So like even if you had, like I have this scar on my hand, I would have to show like documentation that this is, even though I got this when I was a baby, I still have to show documentation that this is healed, that this is not going to be an issue for the army, because they don't want to have to pay any more money than they actually have to for any of your injuries. So if you already have an injury, if there's anything that's blatant, I believe mental health also falls under that, then they're not going to accept you into the army. They want to win. So it has to be, you have to be healthy, you have to fit into, you know, their requirements of whatever they have, their standards, and then, you know, you get in. But it's not like we're at war, let's draft all the men and then just throw them in. You know, there's got to be training.
Right.
You don't know how
the
to hold
ones who didn't
gun.
train, they go on the front line.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know how to hold a gun, there's no way they're just gonna put a gun in your hand and be like, go. You know.
I figure that. I just think the mentality of knowing that one day that could possibly happen kind of puts like your own team against you, you know, because a lot of people are going to be at situations where they're like, man, I just had a kid, and now they're drafting me. Like, imagine how that guy feels, and imagine how he's going to actually do everything he can to get home and not actually fight for the country, versus people who actually want to do that and have been trying to pursue that since they were at a young age. It just seems kind of,
Well,
I don't know.
you also have to think about this, just real quick, sorry to cut you off, but you have to think about this like people who are just turning 18, so you know, will have to go in and register. So you have that, and then on top of that, you also have to think about like, oh shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, go ahead, Vaughn.
I'm just saying.
You was going too.
Who's going? Oh, I was gonna say I ain't going. But for you, David, may the elder gods be with you. I'm gonna just say that in Raiden's voice, because if you're going on that field, hey,
I wouldn't be worried. I know how to hold a gun.
Right,
good for you, because I do too. But I'm just no.
I ain't scared.
People suffer from PTSD, and I don't know why you want to send us out there knowing that that's gonna trigger our mind.
Thank you. That's just reminding me. I was like, you have to think about the generation we're in now as well, right? What are we? We got Gen Zs that are out now.
Like people with medical problems can't do it, like ADHD and stuff like that. They think they'll be scared. I'm like, I'm not scared.
I mean, everybody has ADHD these days, but you have to think about it like this: is that you had people back in, say, World War II. Where it was like, yes, we're gonna fight for this country, and you know, we're American. You really had that American dream was being pumped into everybody of all ethnicities here in America. But now we know the history of America. We know how we've been treated as Americans, especially POC people. And you just think about like, why would I want to fight for a country who doesn't love me the way they want the way they want me to love it and fight for it and defend it. You know, you have that whole I pledge allegiance to the flag. You're indoctrinated with that as a kid off top, saying you're going to pledge allegiance to the flag, meaning you will never go against America in any kind of way. And by not joining this draft or not going into the war, it's like going against America. But we're in a different time, different generation. And so I just think there's going to be a lot of pushback from a lot of younger people with this if we do go to war. In fact, a draft is
100%. They're gonna say something like, "If you lock us all up, they ain't gonna have no room. Go ahead."
I'm fine with going. I don't care.
I can see that.
But why? Why are you fine with going?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna be making money, and also I want to learn how to do all that military stuff like that. You know.
Well, why don't you just like register and get in there?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, okay. All right. I have no problem with that. I know folks in the military. I think it's a noble
But they
thing.
said they won't allow people with ADHD in.
I didn't say that. You have to go and see.
Nah, I went in one
Oh,
time.
they told you that.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
so what I would say, I would lie about that and say I don't
Okay.
have it.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think joining the military, honestly, like especially is something that's really noble. We need an army. We have to have an army considering the world that we live in. And I think anybody who goes in and does the right thing and don't abuse any of their power, I think
The world is a dangerous
wonderful.
place.
Yeah, it very much is. So the draft isn't open, but
I wish it was.
18 to 25.
No. Keep that draft closed.
Nah,
What
open
is up
it.
with you, guy?
Open it. I want to go.
He said,
See,
open
you
it.
ready
Yeah.
to risk your life. I can't do it, man. I'm scared. I
Hey,
got
hey.
a family to do.
Imagine if the zombie apocalypse happened, all right?
Okay.
That's
What you gonna
different.
do?
Not the
What
same
you gonna
That's
do?
thing.
different.
If
A
a
zombie
million
apocalypse
zombies
in it.
came, what would you do?
Man, I'm just grabbing a couple people with me that I can trust, and then we gonna kill them together, and we gonna board up. That's the only thing that you need. In the army, you need about thousands and thousands of people just to come on board. Then, as soon as they get off, somebody get shot, a man go down, another man go down. I don't know what you want. Please.
I want everything.
Oh, yeah, see.
Okay.
All right.
I'm joking.
on.
I'm joking.
That was our current events, you guys, and as you can see, yeah, we went off the rails with that one. You better not draft for the culture, man. We ain't showing that. Man.
For the draft!
Open the draft right now. I would do it.
Draft,
I would do it. I'm
Don't
sorry.
draft.
And that's our enclosure for the draft. Thank you and good night, family. How y'all doing? Keeping it current.
Right, you guys, we will be back with the question of the day. Please stay tuned here at For the Culture.
For the draft.
For the draft. For the draft. Hey, and we will be back right here at For the Draft.
For the draft. Hey, that was a good one.
I gotta say something, y'all.
For the
Oh
draft.
my
You are
God.
now drafted.
Oh, you're now drafted in the culture.
Hey, I like that. Guys, now we come to the portion of the podcast where we ask our
Question.
what I say.
It's all, now we come to the portion of the podcast.
Oh, okay. Y'all know I do it extra, man. Where we ask our question of the day. And the question of the day is, should single mothers celebrate Father's Day? And what exactly does that mean? Does a single mother with no father in the house celebrate
Okay,
Father's
so the question pertains to the idea that a single mother takes the role of the father when there is an absent father. As a single mother myself, I've seen this kind of, everyone's like, oh, happy Father's Day. And I just kind of ignore it because I'm kind of indifferent to it. But I don't think, like we have Pancake Day and whatever it is, I think that we can like make a different holiday to honor single mothers as well as mothers if that's really necessary. But I personally don't believe that, while I do appreciate that, a single family household in terms of like a single mother has to take on the role of the father as well. I don't think that it's right to take that appreciation from the father figure because it's like kind of saying, like I'm as good as you, and then it shouldn't be, a comparison in like the same way.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Me personally, I think I was one of the kids who grew up and told my mom Happy Father's Day, you know, and it was only because I didn't have my father around, so it was like a harmless thing. But as I grew to like really grow up and understand, even if your father's not in the home, you're still gonna be raised by the father figures who are around. Just it could be any man, so that's why a lot of times it's negative and a lot of times it's good. But I like what you said about you not able to replace that role. You know, you can't replace a mom and you can't replace a dad, whether you only have your dad or your mom. So I don't take it too serious because, like I said, I was one of the kids that used to say that. But I think we definitely need to pay attention that you can't replace either role. So just saying it in general kind of like defeats the purpose. You know, you want to celebrate somebody without putting someone else down.
It's the same way that like if I say Happy Mother's Day and you're not a mom, it doesn't discredit the other person. I feel like it's discrediting like fathers in general, and I feel like yeah, it's okay, but like if if it doesn't apply to you, don't take it. You know, like while I take certain roles, like there are certain like women that are just more masculine, so they are like appear in certain ways, but I think it's discrediting the actual fathers that are showing up, and like whether there's also the other idea of like should absent fathers or fathers that don't show up in their families, should they also be honored? And I feel like that's where my thing comes in, is like in my situation, my son's father is not in his life, but everyone's like, oh well, you're the mom, the dad, the aunt, the grandpa, and I'm like, nope, I'm just the mom, and I do have to portray these different roles, but that doesn't make me anything that I'm not. I'm still just the mom.
Right. So obviously your son's not old enough to really partake in like Father's Day. It doesn't really mean much to him now. Mm-hmm. But when he does get to that age, are you going to have like, I guess, like a story time for him to be able to know about his father? Or is it just going to be one of those things where it's just like, he's not around.
I feel like it's not about him. I would teach him about like the concept of Father's Day, because then there's always like the idea of like, well, everyone else has dads, where's mine? And that goes into like a different kind of concept, but teaching him that like Father's Day is something that can be celebrated, and in terms of that, like this is something that is honored, because if he one day becomes a dad and I don't teach him about Father's Day and all these different things, then he won't know what's going on.
Sorry, phone ringing.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, mothers can't take that father role. That's because my mom be like, it's Father's Day, and I just look at her like, no, you're just our mom. Our dad's in South Bay, Indiana. Well, I personally call my uncle my dad because he's still my father figure, even though, you feel me? But at the end, I was like, you can't do that, because us, like, when we look at our fathers, because the man leads, the mother can't do that. The mother is more like a lover and a protector. I mean, like, we're the protectors and mom's the lover, something like that.
Wow.
But I'm just saying, like, because I'm just being truly honest.
Talk about traditional wife, traditional man over here. Okay.
Saying, like,
but it also, like, I also wanted to say, like, while like now my son doesn't have a father, but like it doesn't discredit, like, if there is a man that like comes into his life that like takes the father role, I want him to know that like this is something that is honored, that is celebrated, because just because he doesn't have it now, it doesn't mean he won't like ever have it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to Vaughn talking about men. Like, okay, listen, the fact of the matter is people are 3D. Right? People are not just one thing. Women are not only soft and men are only hard. Women can definitely take the lead and raise grown, strong, intelligent, powerful, passionate leaders in men. That can definitely happen. Are very capable to raise strong, powerful men who are leaders. So the comment that Vaughn made was like, women can't be leaders. 100%. In fact, women are always leaders in the household, and even when you have the two parents, because the man isn't the only one doing the things that will teach other men and that will teach their children. The women are also taking the lead. They might have different roles, but they're both leaders in the household. And I mean, and I don't know if you're getting to the point of like a woman can't like teach a man how to be a man. I can't get into all that personally because I'm not a man. But I am a woman, and I know that I have taught plenty of youth that I've worked with some of those skill sets and what it is to be a great human being. I'm not interested in teaching people like, oh, this is how you be a woman, this is how you be a man. There are some things you definitely need to know biology wise, but I'm into like teaching this is how you can be a great human being, this is how you can be a leader in your community, these are the opportunities I can give you, and this is the support I can give you. And I think that that can happen no matter what gender or non-gender you are.
I also think that in terms of, gender and not gender, it's also just a sense of like masculinity or femininity. Like I mentioned, there are some biological women who are more masculine. So like as I can, like you were saying, like I can teach my son to be strong and supportive and lead, and he can choose to do with that what he will. Like there are naturally more feminine men that like to nurture things in people and all these different stuff. So it's not always about teaching a man to be a man. It also is like what they do with that, because while I can raise him to be what I want him to be, he has the choice to be who he wants to be with what I teach him. So it's not always that. You just do the best that you can. But back to the question at hand, I don't think that, single mothers should celebrate Father's Day. I think that if they're looking for that honor, find a different way to do it, because then it does, I feel like in my own kind of opinion, it does discredit the fathers at hand, and not, the men, but I mean the fathers, because that's kind of what I feel like the question was.
You look like you in your feelings.
No, I ain't in my feelings.
He doesn't like Drake, but he's in his feelings.
Hey, Vaughn,
Don't bring Drake in this.
Hey, Vaughn, what did you hear that you didn't like? Because I kind of heard a few things, but I just rolled.
Tell me, please.
I just
tell
rolled
me.
through it,
It's
and
a
I kind of lost.
discussion.
I kind of lost.
It's not that you put me on blast. I don't like speaking on these type of questions because I get out my body and I don't like. Because it's like, how can no? Because she talking about masculine. No, I ain't gonna speak on that. I'm just gonna keep.
Okay, but let's just have an educated conversation.
Okay,
If we have two women speaking in different directions than we're speaking, let's just have a way where we can meet in the middle and both share it. My part that I wouldn't necessarily say I disagree with, because my mom, my grandma, and my auntie completely raised me without any men contributing to my actual like consciousness or anything. So I'm not gonna disagree, but they couldn't raise me to be a man. Those are the steps.
So what does that mean then, to be a man?
What does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean? What does it mean to be anything? So based off,
I actually had that type of conversation with my granddad.
yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, I know we're getting into the future, and the future now is like where there's so many different genders, there's so many different things that you can just switch and do this, but it's not traditional to say that only a man can teach a man what he's supposed to know. That, and the same for a woman. So I don't really understand where the conversation is kind of shifting in that direction.
But well, you just said that a woman can't teach a man to be a man, so your parents didn't teach you how to.
So what I'm saying is, my mom raised me to be a good person. So I agree with what you said with that. She also the reason why I am a good leader is because of my mom. I learned those skills from my mom. But I'm saying when it came down to actually being able to decipher my feelings as a man, meaning depression, meaning love, just meaning the things you go through when you're at an age of, when you haven't hit puberty to the point where you have, my mom wasn't able to sit me down and actually have conversations to actually help me in life. That's what I mean. Like with my body, with my personality, who I was. She could only do it from an outside perspective. But then my football coach, these people who are actual like real men and thrive in the community because they're actually a part of it, were the ones who actually taught me how to be a man.
Again, but what does that mean? What did they? If you can give me one thing of how to be a man, what did they teach you?
Basically, I'm gonna just say this.
Go ahead, please.
One thing is responsibilities. Take care of the people that you love. Do what you have to do. Make sure your family's straight, and make sure anybody you with, make sure they do right by you. And let me see. Yeah, that's the three things I came up with. And that's what my granddad taught me. Because I asked when I was, being a hothead back in freshman year, that's when I was, then he had that talk with me. I didn't understand what it is to be a man until he sat down when he sat at a restaurant. Ooh, and that's what he basically told me. So that's where I get it from. But I grew up with my dad, I grew up with my uncle and my granddad. That's So me and my mom we don't really see eye to eye. That's why we get into it sometimes.
Right,
So,
right. Ron, they can't wait to rebuttal. So let's just go ahead and hear.
No,
So
I
there's
just want to say, like, you can really only teach someone what you know. So if you don't know it, you can't teach it, and that's kind of. While I understand that, you know, people that have experienced certain things like football coaches and stuff, they have the experience to be able to teach you. I have, you know, like my auntie, she's born in the 50s from Brooklyn, New York. Like, she is one of the most gangster people I have ever met, and she has raised multiple adopted men and all these different things. And in terms of like what a masculine man, you know, is like, she has raised some very successful men that have, you know, like beautiful, thriving careers, that are doing things for their community, that are protecting and providing for their family, and they were taught by this woman. So I think that it's not just about, you know, like, oh, you are a woman, it's you have the knowledge to be able to pass it down, because it doesn't matter really what you are, as long as you have the ability to know this and teach it.
I agree. And I think all those things that you mentioned, Ron, are valid. I think they're
Absolutely.
great. I think they're absolutely beautiful. And I think that's something but I also think that those are all things that can be taught by any gender or non-gender. I don't know if that defines a man. I think that still defines a really great human being, which you are.
Yeah, but this is where the conversation starts to irk me, because it's like, it's not the fact that this is the way that it's been and I'm just like stuck in the way that it's been and I'm trying to like get us to focus on that, but I'm trying to get us to understand, yes, you can be a female, yes, you can raise men to be a good person, yes, we've all agreed on that, but a father naturally does that, meaning you don't have to, that's not something that you have to, it has to be a chip in his brain and he just, you know what I mean, it's by nature we are able to teach other men. That's my only argument, that it's already it's the proof in the pudding, it's the science that's already been there. So I'm not saying that I'm just so traditional that I'm trying to be stuck in that, but I'm just trying to get people to understand, like, I grew up way out of that tradition and still had to go seek it and find it because my mom just didn't have those qualities. And it's not because she is a woman, it's just because that's just how life is set up. Men go through a lot of harder things and we have to confide in each other. And when it comes to women and what we do in that, it's easier for us to listen to women. It's easier for us to learn because women are naturally just like smarter and just deep thinkers. It's easier for them to like settle us down. But men, that's like being on the battlefield with your brother, you know what I mean? That experience that you learn from him is just a lot different than someone just saying like, oh, they just had a rough lifestyle and they were just gangster, like they could teach anybody. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying having the same qualities. I'm saying being born with that. The qualities that I have, I was born with this because I'm a man. It has nothing to do with my personality or who I was raised by, none of that. It's the fact that I am a man, that I have these qualities. And it took a man to be able to make these qualities grow. It also took a woman too. There's no discredit here. There's no discredit in the conversation whatsoever. But it's just the fact of like, now we're such in a world where anybody can be whatever they want as far as genders. Now they're swapping everything else and saying like, but this still fits here. Like that would fit here in any situation, like with racism, like black people can do just as good as white people. We've already proven that that's the truth, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things where it's like, the gray line area is kind of weird for me with the gender thing, because now it seems like first it was like we can do whatever we want as far as like sex, right? And then now it's one of those things where like the sex kind of became the identity, and then now anybody can just do whatever they want and be whatever they want. And then when you say anything that seems kind of in a way of like traditional, it's kind of like you're against it. And it's like, I'm not disagreeing with what anyone's saying, but I'm just trying to draw a line of like where we're actually at as far as like what we all think about this.
I also feel like the biggest way that like I can kind of incorporate what everyone is saying is that just because you can doesn't mean you should. I feel like that's kind of
okay. I love that. I love that 100%.
Like you can fit a square block into a circle cube, but it doesn't mean that's not like naturally. Because I agree, like men are born like genetics and all this different stuff. Like you are born different, and there is nothing that like no matter how many times like I teach it or whatever, like I as a woman cannot embody what a man is, because I am not a man. It's not just, you know, you have these parts and this is like it's genetically different. So I understand, you know, that the way that the thought process, men are logically, you know, they operate on a different what's it called, hormonal kind of pattern, like the 24 hours women, and you know, they have different, there are differences. So I think that, you know, the concept really is like, just because you can, should you? Yeah.
And I love that.
I think this. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think
It
some
was a
of
little bit
the.
scattered.
I think it was very scattered, yeah. And I think some of the similarities, especially comparing gender and sex, those are two totally different things. So I don't want to get into that because that's getting different weeds.
Maybe next episode. I think we need to do that for next episode.
Maybe.
It's a conversation I want to have.
Okay. So I think that's getting into the weeds. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I think that's too much of a broad stroke, personally, to just apply that to life. I think that's great in certain situations, but I wouldn't put that as a broad stroke, especially talking about raising kids and things like that. I guess I got caught up on, so what does that mean though?
Right.
You know, but you can explain it just like I have experience as a woman. I can't really explain like how that's different, so I get what you're getting.
And that's kind of why it was hard to explain, because you're like, what's a man? And I'm like sitting here looking at you, and I'm like, well, I can see that you're a woman, and it's like the qualities that you bring to us at Culture Club. It's like that's strictly from a woman. Like you give off this mother vibe, you know. So
that's what y'all think. Can I have that? It's more of an auntie.
Auntie, mother, grandma, it don't really matter. Still bring the mother.
Don't say grandma.
No,
I wasn't gonna say grandma. I was gonna say grandma. I was just gonna say mother and auntie, but auntie's more different because I feel like you one of the chillest aunties. Like, like the mother can hit the child, then the child comes to you talking about auntie, she hit me.
Hey guys, but just before we wrap it up, I see Lanija over here sneaking on the mic. Is there something that you want to chime in before we wrap this question of the day up?
So like with the, like what makes a, like if you can celebrate Father's Day, I really don't know about any of that. I have all women in my family. Like the only man in my family was married into, so like I just don't know any of that. But like my mom did celebrate it, and she was a single mother. So like I kind of understand what y'all saying. Like when she first did it, I didn't like it because she was my mother. But I really don't care for it. I really don't.
You don't care for celebrating, or you don't care for Father's Day?
Both. Yeah, I don't really celebrate it.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's supposed to be like almost like just an appreciation day, but now we're so far into the future that now it's like a backwards compliment to tell your other parent like Happy Father's Day when it's your mom. And I don't know, I just think it's a funny conversation because just like I said, I used to say that so much when I was younger. I thought nothing of it, you know what I mean? But to her, it was like, I'm going through all these struggles as a mother, not as a father. I know your father's not here, but I'm doing this as a mother. And I never really understood that. And you know what I mean? And now that she's not here and the type of energy that I just really miss, I kind of understand it a lot. You know, it just it makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, I like to say that I think that Father's Day and Mother's Day, and mind you, I don't have any children that I've ever birthed, but I have been active in many of kids' lives. And I just think that I feel like maybe the excitement of that day is when you're like your first child. So it's like really exciting. But I think parents should be celebrated all the time, every single day.
Yeah, I know. And the funny thing about this is like we're talking so deep about it when it's like we made it up. You know what I mean? Like it's not an actual holiday. It's not by law. Like we're just doing this to celebrate each other. So we need to do a little bit more celebrating and less of the other stuff.
But you know, Father's Day falls on like the 17th list of like the worst holidays. I mean,
so does Black History Month. So there's a lot of things that actually matter, you know. But that's why we're kind of having this conversation, because it's like I feel like here at For the Culture, we actually have those conversations that need to be had, you know. And I'm actually tired from having this conversation because there was that much energy involved with it. But I love the conversation so much because it was such a simple question, but it got really deep. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. That is our question of the day. Should single mothers celebrate Mother's Day.
Father's Day.
Oh. The draft has started. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Let me give you a good break, guys. While you're at home, go ahead and ask your family and friends, should a single mom celebrate Father's Day? And what does that look like right here for the culture? For the draft. All right, y'all, we out of here.
We want to highlight awesome businesses in our community each and every show. We call this section the shout out. Today, we'd like to shout out the Artery based in Minneapolis. They are an anti-authoritarian, consent-based collective of artists and community members. They prioritize racial, economic, gender, and disability justice and strive to hold space that is radically inclusive and founded on a liberatory practice and politics. The Artery is a great space to rent out for any office space, for any events that you would like to have. And all you'll have to do is contact them, send an email to ablemediamn@gmail.com. You can also call or text 651-335-1224 or call and text 336-501-0305. The Artery is based in Minneapolis. Call them up if you are looking for a great, affordable space to hold any event that you might have, including meetings. In addition to the shout out, we want to make it a point that when you tune into For the Culture, that we highlight businesses, events, and services that can be important resources for the community overall. We call it the Resource Spotlight. We are hiring! Join our team, not ours, this is at YouthLink. It's a peer outreach internship for ages 18 to 24 years old. It's part-time at $20 an hour. You can contact Quay at youthlinkmn.org. That's QUAY at youthlinkmn.org, or kiki.dunn at youthlinkmn.org. That's KIKI.DUN as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, at youthlink.org. Come on ahead, join the team, and service the community.
We want to thank you for tuning in. This has been a pleasure here at For the Culture.
For the Culture!
Podcast.
Brought to you by Kulture Klub Collaborative. Please make sure you follow us on IGs, guys. That is Kulture Klub with 2 Ks. While you're in our IG, go ahead and slide in our DMs. Give us some feedback on the show. Maybe some question of the days you might want to hear. Some MN artists you think deserve to have that spotlight. Guys, if you want to get featured on the show, just hit us up. We would love to hear from you guys. And remember, we are for the youth, for the arts,
For the Culture! But tune in. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. For the KKC, leave some comments down in the comment section. Tell us how we did, and we'll see you back next Tuesday on For the Culture.
This weekend I'm getting everything started.
Yes!